I'm going to introduce these two superheroes here of the community. And I'm so inspired by these two women from everything they have done and how they walk the talk of our mission here at Green School. Pauline, you know, she's a dear friend of mine, and you know, to go to her house and to see how she lives and to see how she, you know, I mean, everything about her is just magic, you know. Go to her kitchen and experiment the things that she produces. It's like, I don't know how to describe, and I think you're going to have a surprise today, guys. You're lucky that you came. And I mean, she has doing so much already for the community. She worked for a long time also with Bali. So did Sophie, who started also the zero waste shop in Ubud that now has another name, but it's still a zero waste shop. So they both here have been walking the talk of Green School very hardly. And they're going to give us a really nice presentation of how to have a regenerative lifestyle in Bali. And this is very important because we as a community, we should not rely on the school and see that we have our minds free because we have enrolled our kids in Green School. That's not exactly how it works. We should be walking the talk together. We should be being the example at home. So I know that everybody's in different stage and it's okay. It's not a competition, look. You don't, it's not a competition, but we should be aiming everybody to the same direction and do whatever in our capacity, what we can do for a regenerative world. So without further ado, Pauline and Sophie.
Thank you so much, Carol, for this fabulous introduction and for balancing the technical difficulties here with the people here live in the bridge and the people online. I don't know how many people are online, so just for me to get an idea. Like 10, okay. So thank you everybody for showing up and for coming here to listen what Pauline and I have to share. I hope it's of use to you. And we, let me have a, so actually this is not the first time that I'm doing this talk. I mean, it sounds a little bit because I'm a bit nervous, but the last 3 years, Pauline and I have been giving this talk for new parents. And every year it's something different. I think 3 years ago, we talked mostly about waste management and recycling because we were both very involved in Bali, our waste management system here at school. And a couple of years ago, it was about zero waste shopping. So we helped parents how to shop more mindfully and not only go to the supermarket and shop the first things what you see, but it maybe, you know, take a couple of steps extra. And this year we will talk about all this, but we also would actually like to share habits that talk about regenerating the soil, the earth. So things that replenish the ecosystem that we live in, so that we don't need to only stop the deterioration of this world we live in, but we can actually reverse. And I think that's actually very inspiring and hopeful. And yeah, I hope that what Pauline and I are going to share will be inspiring to you and to make the first steps. Yeah, next slide, maybe that will help. Yeah, so then I would like to hand over to Pauline, who I met 5 years ago and has, just like for Carol, been a role model in how to actually better our life.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming, all you beautiful people. I'd just like to start by just taking a few breaths. So let's breathe it in and out. In and out. One more time. In and out. So my name is Pauline, and I've been here for 9 years. This is my 9th year in Bali. And back in 2013, my eldest daughter, I have 2 daughters. The eldest daughter was off to college in another state. We lived in the United States. And my youngest daughter, she applied for a scholarship at a school in Indonesia. And we didn't know about it. She didn't tell us until she was in the top 2 finalists. And at that point, she had to tell us that, you know, she had applied for the scholarship at the Green School Bali. We had been through many years of different, you know, with family deaths and health issues. And so when this came up, it was all of us said, let's jump. You know, let's see where we land. We'll just jump off the cliff and see what happens. So like many of you, we came for 6 months to try it out. And, you know, fast forward 9 years later, I'm still here. I just wanted to mention that within 3 months of us being here, my daughter announced that she wanted to graduate from Green School, and she would do anything in her power to make that happen. So that's when we bought a bamboo house, which, you know, is sustainable, and that's where it all started. So, Sophie?
Yeah, maybe you can go to the next slide. So I met Pauline at Bali, and it's, I don't know, anybody of you, maybe new parents who know what Bali is? You are a new parent, right? Okay. So maybe it's actually good to share. It's the waste management system here at school, and it started how many years ago?
I think the year I came.
The year I came, and Pauline took it over when you met the Rice family.
Right. I can take it from here. So, the Rice family built this building. This was Bali. This was built to be a recycle center. And on this side, we had 21 categories of waste separation. And over here, we had a secondhand clothing store and household items. So I was approached by Sam and Richard because they wanted to go away for 3 months, do some traveling. And they needed somebody to fill in for Bali. And so I said yes, and 3 months turned into 6 years. So one of the first things that I noticed when I took over was that all of the recycling was dropped off by parents or drivers, and it was left to the to volunteers to sort all of this recycling. And in working with all of these parents doing all of this sorting, it became apparent that the act of sorting your own waste through these 21 categories was an education in what is and what is not recyclable. And also it ends up changing your habits. And this is what the feedback that I was getting, that these women and men who were doing all of the sorting were then changing their habits. They were trying to reduce their waste. And that's when we changed and became a self-serve. So families would come in and sort their waste, and then they would learn what is and is not recyclable and change their habits at the other end. And it was great to see families in here. It was great to see kids coming through, sorting their family's waste. And it was also great for a Trash for Class program that Coco Connection had. And we'd have local people coming in because they had to pay for their class in trash. And having them sort, and their eyes were wide, and they're looking at all of the separation. And so I think it also then, helped to change their habits as well.
I think one of the most important things that kind of worked at Bali is that, of course, we motivated parents and our children to sort their trash. But yeah, it does not always work, right? But actually when they get to Bali and when they do it, it clicks. And when it actually clicks, then they start coming by themselves. And I think that's what Bali really did to many people. Yeah.
There was one other thing I wanted to mention. We had an amazing, that's when we also started a local school education program. And that went on, until I left. It really became unbelievable. super proud of all the people that came into my life. Just what I needed, it would come. And Sophie was one of those people.
It was really trash for cash, so the local children could actually bring in trash. I think it's maybe, do you know how much? Let's say per kilogram they were paid, but also the local scholarship children who were admitted to school had a bit of obligation to actually bring a minimum amount of trash to school to come to the school, I would say. So I think here on is it to the left? That's Elle, that's your daughter, right, Pauline?
Yeah, this is my daughter.
Here, that's Kambali, former Kambali, and Kambali has now moved a little bit next to, is it Sophie's school? Parking lot. So hope that everybody can find it. It's always open 24 hours, 7 days a week. Never closed, you can always drop off your stuff. And so 5 years ago, I started improving the system a bit, but I got more interested in the education that Kambali was doing over the local, with the local schools here in the neighborhood. And I was trying to involve the students from school. And one of them, my son, it was very hard to get him changed. Not sure if that has worked because he has left school. Anyway, he's still a good kid, but I tried, right? And what Kambali actually really made me realize is, little steps. And so after Kambali, I started a little store in Ubud on the Sion Road. That was a zero waste bulk store, and it's still there. It has been working through all the pandemic. And if you have time, just come and drop by and see what we have and talk to our staff. And here on the left, it's this was, I think, a graduation the day when Abid and Eka finished their program, educating these children over, let's say, a period of 6 months, where they learned about recycling, but also what burning or landfill does to the environment they live in. And as Pauline already said, these are wonderful people, and most of them, I think, have left Green School and really went to Greener Passion. I'm working for super nice eco NGOs. Next slide.
Okay, so both Sophie and I live in sustainable, houses that are made of sustainable materials. I've lived in bamboo for 9 years, but at one point, I just realized that the house was too big for me, and so I looked at the spaces that I actually used, and I wanted to be closer to nature. I wanted more of a connection to nature. So across from the big house, built, this, where the garden is my house. We come from the West, where we take our footprint and we just fill it up with a giant box. So this, my garden is my home, and I have some very simple structures. And when this was all happening, like, things happen for a reason, and somebody contacted us about buying our houses in Florida that weren't on the market, but they wanted them as is, where is, with all contents. And it was like, this is a sign. And letting go of all that stuff, I mean, beautiful stuff, but it's so empowering to just let go of everything and ask yourself, what do I really need? And so going from the house to the garden was really downsizing and figuring out what I really needed. And in the end, living with less is much more. And I have such a great connection with my garden. We definitely have an energy exchange going on. I wake up every day just very thankful.
When I arrived 5 years ago, I have the feeling many parents do, coming in Bali, buy a house, big land, and start building something, right? So I was one of them. So I have this beautiful house, beautiful, rich, and it didn't really feel super good. And so at the same time, I decided that after living in a house like that, I wanted to move away and live smaller. So I signed up for an eco-village. I'm talking to this gentleman who is, I think, very interested in living in eco-villages and learning more about them. The eco-village is called Sabang Eco-Village, and it's next to school. I signed up 5 years ago. And the architect is here, and some of my neighbors are here. So they have all made it a really nice living for me there. We live in it's an intentional community of 13 villas. We have, the living area of the house is only 110 square meter, which is relatively small for the bules, for the foreigners, I would say. But we have a lot of, I find a lot of land, a lot of communal land. And the house is built out of bamboo and out of cob. Everything what we have built it can be also, it biodegrades. So we don't use materials like, or not as much concrete or cement or bricks that also use a lot of energy to make. So it's really a natural building and very, it's a less toxic building, I would say. Next slide.
So those who know me know that I only ride a bicycle pretty much. I'm not saying I don't take a car now and then, but I really feel, this frame of ours, our bodies, we're built to walk and built to move. And so it has to be part of our day. And also, the carbon footprint. And I discovered in riding around Bali, there's just so many ways to get around off the main roads, into the rice fields. There's probably, 10 or 12 ways to get to Ubud from here, and none of it on the main roads. I really enjoy it, and I get that my daily exercise. And if I'm not riding, I definitely go for a walk. Like I said, walking is man's best medicine. No.
So, yeah.
Have you documented any of those paths? Like, could I follow one to because I keep getting lost and then end up on a road?
You have,
that's
to go
okay.
you have to go with Kurt or I,
You can join the bike ride with Kurt tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
The bridge organizes a bike ride every
Every Friday.
Every Friday, sorry, is it?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I said tomorrow, no?
Yes.
Every Friday.
Every Friday, and tomorrow is Friday too, yeah.
And I started by just walking and going down all of these tiny little paths and just discovering more and more and more. And then I got, the bicycle, and I did the same thing. It's great to discover. And like I said, the rice fields are very extensive. Yeah.
So through the connection with nature, it's I think for most of you, it really feeds us, right? Have you ever thought how you feed back, or how you give back to nature? I think I haven't. I don't think that I really did it. I think I mostly thought about how could I minimize my impact, but it was actually very powerful to learn that you actually can really give back to the nature. I'm participating on a course that involves planting rice, and there they shared with me about regeneration of the soil, and that we can really reverse what has happened to the earth. And I'd like to show this trailer of a movie that people can watch on Netflix. Not sure if people watched the Kiss the Ground movie. Yeah, for anybody who has not, yeah, it's a really good one to watch. The message is really powerful. So this is the trailer.
There's so much bad news about our planet. It's overwhelming. Truth is, I've given up. This is the story of a simple solution, a way to heal our planet. The solution is right under our feet, and it's as old as dirt.
All of our soils that are under chemical conventional agriculture are almost completely devoid of microorganisms.
Modern agriculture was not designed for the betterment of the soil.
Fossil fuels are by no means the only thing that is causing climate change. When we damage soils, carbon goes back to the atmosphere.
But when we destroy soil, it releases carbon dioxide.
Biosequestration is using plants, trees, and techniques of grazing and farming to capture carbon and store it in the soil.
We can fix a lot of our climate issues if we bring the CO2 down into a living plant and put it back into the soil where it belongs.
Plants working with soil microorganisms, it seems too simple.
Healthy soils lead to a healthy plant, healthy human, healthy climate.
There could be a way to eat food that heals the planet.
The problem isn't the animal. The problem is where the animals are at.
How do we take waste and repurpose and reuse it, because it's really not waste?
The poop has to stay in the loop.
Compost is just one of a suite of soil-based carbon capture solutions.
We know how to do it. And if we continue to scale over 30 years, we can reverse global warming.
We can get the Earth back to the Garden of Eden that it once was by regeneration.
To see biodiversity return to a place that was completely devastated.
That gives me hope.
Our health and the health of our planet are connected.
If you look over here, my neighbor's land that has been chemical fallow, then you look over at our paddocks, you have a diversity of different plant species. Which model do you want your food to be produced from? The answer is pretty simple to me.
I'll make you a deal. I won't give up, and neither should you.
Kiss the Ground is also the name of the rice cycle course that I'm participating in, and the title says it, Kiss the Ground, and it's about regenerative farming, which it's farming with less input and more outputs. Actually, so less fertilizers and just leave nature to do what it does best, right? And not for humans to impose, using fertilizer and using other human-produced chemicals on the land. Next. So let's talk trash. This has been a big issue. It's still a big issue. I think it has become quite mainstream. I would say when I arrived, I think probably it applies to everybody who has just arrived from the West. The problem isn't really obvious to you when you come from a Western country because your trash is being taken away. If you are here, you see trash everywhere. And you would start saying, oh, why is the trash? Why are they not putting it in the trash bin? And then I would like to ask you, do you know where your trash goes while you live here in Bali? So it all goes either on a landfill nearby your villa, or it goes on these big landfills. This in Suwung, in the south of Bali. And it's horrible. It's really damaging for the nature because it leaks and it produces greenhouse gases. It's all not good. This was on a field trip that the school took the children a couple of years ago. And the solution, Pauline and I believe that the solution is not only to find technical solutions, but it's really about reducing our waste and reducing our consumption. So yeah, so just to give you an idea about how much trash we make, and so every year we make more and more trash. I'm just can't understand. So these are US numbers, so maybe it's more awful in the US than here or in your country, but I think it says something. So 5 pounds trash a day, 2.5 kilograms. That's a lot. We waste, of that 22% is food waste. And that's very sad. That's about 2 kilograms a week. Knowing that 10% of the world is in hunger. And only 24%, according to official figures, is recycled. And I doubt this figure. I think it's very high because these are the official numbers, and it means like, okay, what happens is that recycling mostly happens in Asia or Southeast Asian countries. And so this number comes, for example, for the US. So they put it on a boat. And so this is probably the 24% that goes on a boat and it's being shipped to the east. And then only a small percentage of that load will be recycled, because most of that what is on the boat is just not recyclable because it's too dirty, it's not properly sorted, it's just a mess of the West. So rest goes in Western countries to landfill or an incinerator. So here it really just goes to landfill because we don't really have a commercial or a good, proper working big incinerator here. What else do I want to say? Yeah, so let's see how we can reduce our waste. Are people trying to reduce their waste? I mean, sorry, it sounds like very teacher. I would not be a good green school teacher, but are people trying to reduce their waste? What if I would say the 5 R's or 6 R's to reduce waste? This is something that our children at the green school learn. So maybe parents.
So does anyone want to say something? I actually want to say something.
Okay.
I feel that after the pandemic, and with the Gojek kind of into our lives, I feel that I had to start a fight in my house against Gojek. Yeah. Because the amount of waste that my household has started to produce has tripled. Yeah. And I always was someone very conscious, and I now kind of punish the restaurants that don't have a good packaging system. I just don't ask for them anymore. But I'm wondering how. Yeah, I'm wondering like that this is, if someone that like me that have always take care of, like this has happened. I imagine for people that really don't care about it, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
But it's hard, especially during the pandemic when things are hard, right? You want to have this quick fix. You call the pizza, you go on, you binge Netflix. It's hard, we are all humans. Maybe this year was not a good year for. I don't know. Maybe it was a good or not good. I don't know, but it's very human.
I always think of, you know, when we used to, back in the beginning, when we used to order food from Ariesta.
Yes.
And I was telling everyone, I just give them gentle reminders, please no plastic, please no plastic. And you did the same, I know you did. And it just takes these gentle reminders, or, you know, I have gone into, you know, get some takeout food, and I'll ask them, what are you going to put this in? And if it's styrofoam, I just tell them, like, I just can't. You know, I cannot. I'll come back another time with a container too.
But this is not a Gojek option.
but it's interesting. I'm feeling more challenged now that I left from the eco village. Yeah. I'm feeling way more challenging in this matter. Specific with, because for me it's very easy to say I'm not ordering Gojek, but when your kids have the power to actually order Gojek themselves, then
And we'll talk about eating closer to nature. That's what we need to do. Closer to nature, not eating out as much is really key to a regenerative life. You know, support businesses that are sustainable and doing these things is a much better route. And you know what's in the food. Like, you know, if you're cooking it yourself and you've gotten it from an organic farm, you know exactly what's in it. And like I said, we've got to start eating closer to nature.
So the 6 R's, yes, I think we are trying to duck this question. Luke?
I'm not sure I have them, but I think
it's... Just one.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. Yes, that's 3.
Repurpose or refuse.
Yes, good. Yes, and then one, well, there's one R... What? Rethink. No, there's one R that I'm really passionate about, Kurt.
Regenerate?
No, the R from, and then 2 more letters. From rot.
Rot.
Composting. I mean, food waste. If you have food waste, garden waste, don't send it away to landfill. Compost it.
What is the word?
Rot.
Rot.
Oh.
No, not rat. What did you think I said?
I don't know.
Yes. All right, next slide. Let's see if we got all the R's right. So refuse. So I think that's what Pauline is saying. I mean, refuse really say that you don't accept plastic, that you don't want plastic, and that you will walk away, and give gentle reminders. So for example, Gojek, yeah, you can, maybe after ordering, you can say, sorry, I see that this was all styrofoam.
Yeah,
I will not order next time.
I don't order anymore. Like the ones I always send notes, but I think actually Gojek it's doing a disservice for the environment. Like it's a good service. So I think that my point to Gojek is that we tend to make things easier.
Easy, yes.
You know,
like Amazon.
Like and then I mean to really think through. So now we have a rule in our house. We can maximum once per week Gojek. In a case that really everybody's super tired. Otherwise, we walk to the restaurants in the neighborhood. But it got to a point that I had to put my kids and say, like, have a look. So you guys have been here for 10 years. How do you feel about it, you know?
So can
and
I ask what was the packaging?
Huh?
What was the packaging?
I mean, even paper packaging, it doesn't really matter, you know, because the reality is that we should be producing less and less and less, even if it's a recyclable.
Yes.
We know that the facilities here in Indonesia are not really... It's not really happening. You know, we know that we think that recycling is happening. It's not.
No, never assume.
You know,
it's not Gojek's role. I mean, like we order, right? And there's another side to it, which is Gojek probably takes Gojek each deliverer from Gojek probably takes 20 cars off the road. So I think, I mean, I am absolutely a believer in eliminating plastic. I actually did not even know Bali was open. I've been asking.
Oh no, really?
Like I had.
Oh, that's not good.
No,
you don't know. No, serious.
Chris, it's on the road.
I know.
You need to change your glasses, Chris.
Drive through.
So I come in the wrong way. So but like that is good news for me. So, but I think, but the part of this that I think is sort of interesting is that I think Gojek is a symptom of the problem. And this is often what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the symptoms rather than what is the core issue, which is what Pauline is talking about, which is what
But it's always
Sophie's
easy to point to something or something.
And so I think, you know, there are some things, and there are some huge benefits. Like when we're saying like, oh, last year was a disaster for the environment. Absolutely not. Watch the other Netflix movie, The Year the Earth Changed, where you have animal life, you have plant life, you have the greatest regeneration that has ever happened in the world's history because you removed humankind. And so I think this is an important part for us at Green School. We like to point fingers, and like, you know, you and I have had this discussion a lot, you know, Sophie, and Luke is Luke one here. And is he one or you one? What do you want to be? You want to be one? I see you're pointing fingers. Look at you guys. You don't learn. So I think this is where we need to kind of get under that layer and understand it a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
And
understand ourselves better.
Yeah, but what I think, Chris, we have two microphones here. So what I think, Chris, is that when I talk about Gojek, so for example, there is a responsibility there that they could be making a policy that for you to become like Gojek delivery, you need to take care of your packaging. So there is a responsibility for them, the same way that there is a responsibility for every company that is producing any product. How is their packaging? What is the system of producing that? So there is a responsibility for them and a responsibility for us. Yes. So everybody is responsible on that. It's not only them, it's us, but everybody. And I think Gojek does have a say on that, because as the powerful man in the room, they should be one putting policies as well and pushing that, you know?
Yeah. All right. Reduce? Shall we? I mean, I think this is kind of no. I don't know. I think it's important to just make clear that everybody understands what the 6 R's are. Reduce, so that is just reducing our waste. Reuse. Luke, do you reuse your packaging, or how do you reuse your packaging?
Like every day, I reuse the same toothbrush that I had the day before.
That is good on you.
These days, I've been doing it twice a day. Twice a day. What do you do?
I have beer bottles every week.
Carrying beer bottles.
Okay.
Don't ask the peanut gallery.
We, for example, I think Pauline and I, the angels here, in front of Britain.
I mean, your water bottle.
Yes.
It's a good example.
But for example, if I occasionally buy jam, and of course normally I make my jam.
Of course you do.
But if I buy jam, then of course I use the pretty jam jars as you know, glasses, drinking glasses, or I put other things in it, or I plant plants. Recycle. Yeah, this is about glasses, recycling, and okay, so this is a little part of our trash. I would not, at the moment, I would not proudly say that I recycle a lot, because I just don't really believe that a lot of it is recycled. Repair. Yeah, I also notice myself that I am sometimes a bit too lazy to repair things. When, you know, when your shirt gets ripped, when something mechanical gets broken, I mean, I cannot, I don't even know how to use a sewing machine. I cannot, I don't. So it's definitely for me something that I can do better.
I have a friend who I just give all my stuff that needs repairing, and she takes it to Sanur, and it doesn't matter what it is, if it's a you know, a coffee frother or a bean grinder or a fan. We at least try. We try to. It doesn't always work, but definitely better. And it affects the way I purchase things too, because you know, I always think of the end game. Where is this going to end up? You know, and is it worth? Is it balanced out? So.
And funnily enough, so this is an area
that this is an area that Christine Harper talks about a lot, right? Because you don't repair something you don't care about, and if you have super cheap stuff, you'll just throw it away. And I think there's a little bit of a, I know it sounds probably not very socioeconomically correct, but I think there's a role for making things super expensive, you know, and charging the full cost of all the externalities of whatever it is, be it food or bags. And I've got a bag that I've been repairing for years because I love the bag. You know, and then it, you know, and now it looks kind of strange and all sort of mangled, but it's still the bag that I'll continue to repair because it's a nice, expensive bag. And I think it doesn't have to be expensive, but if you value it, you repair it. And if you don't value it, you don't. I mean, one of the examples I always give, when we were in Singapore, we had this little side table from IKEA that broke every year because IKEA breaks every year. And then we went and Lydia bought this one from some Danish, you know, super nice furniture place that was 10 times the price, and I kind of got pissed and said, why are we doing that? And in fact, we've still got it now, right? Because we like it. Whereas the IKEA stuff, you know, you just put it in the bin when you leave.
like it, or because it was more expensive, or because it was just too, I think that is...
Maybe you associate that you like it because it's expensive, because you're a douchebag. But me, I'm talking about myself, not you.
Oh.
Because I know I am. But I think also it was just better quality, right? I mean, I think sometimes if you look at the stuff that Bandana was talking about, if you go and buy some ECAT that's taken 2 weeks to make, it cannot be cheap because of all the time that's gone into it. So, I do think you get, you know, when you make things, you give a shit about the quality. It has to be more expensive.
Yeah, I wish to challenge the business minds here to help these businesses who are actually really trying to do good, who are making. So I'm also a slow fashion fashionista, but no, not even fashionista. But anyway, somebody who cares about fashion. Especially slow fashion, the people who are actually into slow fashion meaning making clothes that are from natural materials or natural dyeing or upcycled clothes, they are putting so much work and effort in it, really much more than the big conglomerates. For them to enter the market at a high price, it's really challenging. I mean, very often the only, I feel the only thing they have is their passion for the earth, and they don't have a business mind and don't have deep pockets. I find that.
The sad thing is, I think the first thing you need to do is set up a brand and sell to rich people. Unfortunately, that's kind of it's not the pretty answer.
Yeah.
But we do the same thing with Paulina's granola and Matt Cook's kombucha. We're selling it in Singapore.
Yeah.
And all of the costs of making it and shipping and everything else. And supermarkets insist that it's in plastic, so we're not. Then you don't sell to them, but then you don't get the volumes, and then your business isn't really viable. So it's really kind of hard. But what I think can work is this buy now, pay later that all the kids like, right? Where they go.
But Luke, maybe you can actually. But it's also too much. Sounds like me that the white rich man is a solution to making these businesses viable. It sounds like it.
It sounds like that, but if from my experience of trying to sell this stuff, you can't get it to a price that people are happy with, and people will all tick the box and say, I really want to support the chicken who's been free range, but then when that costs 20 cents more than the other chicken, they don't buy it.
Yeah.
So the only way to do it initially, I think, it's that rich white man thing that you were talking about. Because I've tried to grow these businesses, and it's just, there's no other way out other than, like I was about to say, this buy now, pay later thing. If you can get them to, for example, pay for that Danish coffee table and then pay for it over time so that they don't buy 5 IKEA ones, that can work. But unfortunately, that buy now, pay later is being used to just kind of buy and not give a shit about the credit. So it's a difficult one.
Yeah.
There is another economy that we could make super locally, and that's, maybe somebody has great kombucha, another person does the great granola, somebody might be doing some nice nut and seed bars, and you get this exchange going. Forget the money, forget the capitalism. We need to, work together as a community, and when somebody is making this themselves, it's much higher quality. When you have to think of the price points and the ingredients and how much they cost, you end up with a product that just isn't sustainable. Plus the packaging and everything.
And I think that's so. What's the answer to everything is millions of decentralized communities who work in that way.
Right.
And
we could do that here.
And here's an example of one. And it's exactly what you said is what becomes difficult is when someone's trying to build a business and pay for whatever they need to pay for, and they think, well, I need to sell 5,000 kombuchas. How do I do that? Well, then I've got to sell in Bintang, then it needs to be in plastic. You know what I mean? It ends up not working. But the problem is you can't say, well, let's not do it then. Because we can't wait for these transformation of the world into these decentralized communities sort of living. And it's that
but you don't need to be, I think that's what we are trying to say also later on. You or me, we don't need to be the one who is going to solve the problem for the whole world, right? I mean, we can start with ourselves. So, I mean,
be the change you want to see.
I am living in, I hope to be in living in an international community that tries to do as much as possible within our own community. Like this morning, I fed Kurt's chickens with the grubs in my compost home, and so he doesn't need to buy chicken food anymore. I mean, it's very idealistic, but it's
better product in the end, better for your eggs.
But I do think that we sometimes just think too big if we want to look for solutions. I think if we make our own, if we just solve what is within our direct environment, within the first 5 kilometers radius.
I think there is something also fundamental with our mindset that resources are endless. And for example, I remember when I went to Cuba and just looking how people survived there, and they didn't have this possibility to have other things. So everybody was a mechanic. Everybody knew to fix things, And the American, not American, but the American little bit kind of mindset of, let's produce, let's have more and more and mass. This mindset that it's better for us to buy the new one, and we need to get the new one, and the new model that has released, and the new fabric, and the new this, and the new that. I think that this mindset of like, what do we really need? Like, do we really, really need this? You know, I think that that's something that we should really definitely be rethinking.
Yeah.
And don't feel the pressure of kind of the society does for you to buy new ones, because also big companies, they are making things to last for a short period of time to be able to, for you to, so, you know, there is already, the market is set up for that, you know?
Yeah. We need to move on, and we'll have questions at the end.
Yeah, so I'm actually very, very passionate about rotting our food and our biodegradable waste. Everybody can do it, even if you don't have a garden. I mean, in Bali, now there are several composting services. On the next slide. So this is where we are coming to a more practical things. Everything that we actually mention here will be provided to you on a Google Sheets with all the links, telephone numbers, and whatnot. So Urban Compost is a service between here and Canggu. They do your organic pickup weekly, and it really doesn't cost much. And they turn it into compost, and then once a month you get a bucket of compost delivered at your home. So that's great. Years ago it wasn't there. I have been using for a long time Eco Bali. They provide these compost bins in your garden. If you have a garden, this is a great solution. And Jiva Community Garden, they have also a composting service. And instead of giving it back to you, they compost it and use it in their community garden. So this is, I find this really super nice because it regenerates the earth. Next. Recycling options. So apart from Kambali, which is 24/7 open here next to the Green School, Eco Bali is here, so you can pay. I think for Western money. How much? Yeah, or maybe even less. And they get your recycled stuff mostly. And then if you live in Paragon, I think Meraputri Jawar is also operating. Is it? I don't, at least
I don't know. I know that Eco Bali is banned in Pereira. I don't know. Yeah, you cannot go in.
Eco Bali.
Yes.
Maybe because Meraputri Jawar is working.
Okay. Now they have the bundles there. They collect the waste there, and I actually I bring all my waste here. But
We can. So their social media is working. So contact them. They post regularly. So just contact them. All right. Next.
Okay. This is. Cornitos sold in 2 different packaging. And the one on this side is plastic bag, and this can be recycled if you use Kambali or if you use Eco Bali. And the one on the other side is foil lined. Anything foil lined is going to go to landfill, no matter what. So good to, see
exactly the same product.
Same product, it's just in a different...
But this one you cannot find in the supermarket.
You can find it at different places.
Okay.
So Bali Direct, this is the one that they sell. Pizza Bagus sells it. Sarvika Boga in...
You just have to do that little extra step, right?
Yeah, or you can ask, ask them to get this one.
Yeah.
But definitely Pepito, that's the only one available.
So this one, and anybody knows why this is not recyclable? Yeah, aluminum foil on its own is recyclable.
Not here, really.
Yeah, it's layered. It's a composite, right?
Yeah, it's
not. Plastic, and then in the inside a very little aluminum spray or something. So not recyclable. Next.
This is a packaging that you should take note of. It's soft plastic. It's called Mika, and you find tofu comes in it, and a lot of ceremony kind of stuff is put in this. But it's a soft, crunchy plastic. It's made from PVC, and that's why it's not recyclable. It's toxic when burned.
It's a mix between PVC and polyethylene.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that's one to totally stay away from.
Yeah.
Next. And so, through the years, I've definitely, if I go to a little shop and they have plastic bags, I'll ask them for a banana leaf. I have never, ever been refused a banana leaf. Local people are very good at packaging things up for us. You just have to ask. Styrofoam, definitely, I just avoid it. If something is in styrofoam, I'm not going to buy it. If something is in Mika plastic, I'm not going to buy it. But, things from nature that go back to nature, this is getting a rebirth, and as well as the banana leaf. You can always bring a container with you. So this was on the weekend. I was cycled up to a farmer's market, and there were two vendors, and they both had the jackfruit. And last week I bought from the other vendor, but this week she had it in Mika plastic. So she said, "Do you want some jackfruit?" And I said, "No, I can't buy it in that packaging." And the other guy next to her brings out this natural packaging, and I said, "I'll take one of those." And both of them took note of it, and I swear that next Sunday they'll both have the eco packaging for their jackfruit.
Because sometimes the awareness is not there, right?
Yeah.
They actually very often think that they actually do you a service when they hand stuff in new plastic. So it's not that they are trying to bombard you with plastic. I mean, they really try to help
Once
you.
they know, and all the local little shops along here that I buy things from, they all know. Just put it in my backpack, weigh it, put it in my backpack. The other one are some sprouts, and that's from Cocoa Farm, and it's always going to be, it will never come in plastic. They'll always make a banana leaf package for it, so that's what that is. Okay, next. So this is really important, and especially because we're on a small island. Buying from a local business, impacts the family. So you can impact a family and not a corporation. And plus, the food is probably real. Whereas if you go to a big package store, everything in the middle, that's where you're going to find your GMOs and all of your food additives. The packaging is going to be terrible, and maybe there's some real food on the edge in the produce department. So definitely supporting local people, supporting sustainable businesses, organic farms, companies that are doing sustainable products. Next. So this is my zero waste when I go to the bulk stores. I have 2 coolers that I got here at Green School. They're made from recycled banners, and I just have all my containers. I go in, load up, and pay, and I'm gone. Also, if you go to a farmer's market and every week and you buy, a jamu or something, or you go to you have an ibu that makes you juice every week, you can bring those glass bottles back, because funny enough, glass is not recycled here, and that's crazy. And that's what all of these drinks are about. Next. Reusable bag, hopefully, is a no-brainer for everybody. I have some that are just little sacks that can fit anywhere, and you can clip them onto your backpack. They don't take up any room, and I always have them, even if I'm traveling. I was in India a few years ago, I can't tell you how many times that I took one of these sacks out for somebody to put their stuff in. Next. So here's just a few examples of bulk stores that are all over Bali. Next.
The advantage actually of going to bulk stores is also that you buy less processed food. So you buy seeds, flour, and when people come into my store, I say, okay, these are like the primary colors that you can buy here. And if you want to make a painting, you mix the primary colors. And the same with cooking. You get the raw ingredients and you make something beautiful with it.
So these are some of the sustainable green grocers, not grocers, but farms that grow food. Bali Direct and Bali Jiwa have grocery items, plus they have produce, they have vegan, they have nut cheeses, they have dairy products, they have personal care products. So it's all the best of Bali under one roof. So you just, connect with Bali Direct, you make your order. If you order bread, it is made. If you order produce, it's picked. And the same with Island Organic. You place an order, it's harvested, and it's brought to your door.
So it's convenient and it's good.
And
so
it's much better quality that you're going to find in a big package store. And it's sustainably grown, which is so important. When you go into a big package store, you don't know what's been sprayed on those vegetables. You have no idea. So these are all really good places to buy.
Okay, Carol, you have a...
Yeah, no, I was just saying that Bali, I love the story of Bali Direct because it actually started here at Green School with Perry and Dan working on the food policy of the school. And then they sourced lots of people to serve food for the school, and then we end up not using, and they started Bali Direct. So I just love them.
Yeah. No, but these developments.
All of them, yes.
It's just from something very recent, right? I think really everybody should really be very grateful that this is now made so easy for us. Yeah. Okay.
This will be in the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
If you do eat meat, there are sustainable animal products available, and these are some of the companies. Bali Direct also has sustainable meat and fish available.
Next.
So I have a big problem with cheese because of the way that the milk is produced, the way that the cows are handled, and definitely 8 Degree. I don't eat a lot of cheese, but if I do, I'll order it from 8 Degree because I know that the milk that they're getting comes from cows that are grass-fed, no antibiotics and no hormones.
And the owners or the founders are former Green School parents, so they
so
know
all
what
of these
is
companies
important.
are sustainable. Yeah. And we're so blessed to have all of these different milk and cheese companies that are popping up. It's becoming, we have our own economy happening on this island, and it's really getting exciting, at least I think.
No, completely. When I come here, there was only mozzarella to buy.
Yeah, that's right. And, you ended up buying these, these things that were imported. And we definitely have to stay away from imports and buy local and be local. Next. And so we brought some drinks today. I've been making these drinks for years, and I also teach people how to do this. I've had these bottles for many years. I have a really good bottle brush. I can sterilize them. It's good glass. And so this cuts down waste quite a bit. If you think of every time you go and buy a kombucha, and then what happens with that glass? Unless you're returning it back to the vendor, it's going to landfill.
So we have for you all who are here. For the others who are actually online, can maybe attend our workshops in the future. So this is kombucha.
That's kefir, water kefir. And everything comes from my garden. So that's how my flavors go. Whatever's happening in my garden, it's going into the...
You can imagine how lucky you are to be this tasting here. Pauline is like a fairy. That's how we call her, actually.
Next.
So the only comment that I don't agree with you on is the sign with the thing saying don't let the CEO buy his third holiday home and buy from small businesses. What I think the answer is if you look at these wonderful businesses like Island Organics and that cheese place and everything, I would like them to buy their third holiday home because that company has got so big that it has crowded out the bad guys. And what I always try and do is say, when I say to people who are sort of working, they're like, oh, I don't really want to make money and get big. I'm like, you have a duty to get as big as possible because you're doing the right thing. And if you're doing right by your cows and everyone buys your cheese, they're not buying the bad cheese. So I think that...
well, those people are expanding because then there's more cheesemakers that want to make cheese in Bali. And so it's all happening. But, maybe I'll just take that back. I would rather support those people than support Pepito.
Exactly.
Okay?
And I
And
think-
it's the quality, and it's the GMOs that they're selling, and it's the packaging that's not good, and it's the preservatives.
And so the woman I work with who goes from Sasha's Farms, who's actually moving here to Bali, who runs a website in Singapore that only sells like GMO-free and all. So she goes to every single farm and checks the farmer, and she goes and visits 100 and takes one, right? Because that's the guy who's treating his cows nicely and everything.
Yep.
And she says in 10 minutes of meeting somebody, you can tell that's a good person and that's who you want to win. And I think the only trouble I sometimes see is the people who have this kind of mindset also have a bit of an anti-capitalist mindset, which I think is really doing a disservice to what they're doing, because they should be trying to
I agree.
get huge.
Well, yeah, but we're also supporting the companies that are doing what we want, you know?
And the more that
And if they get big, then that's fine, as long as the quality doesn't.
Yeah, so
go down.
that's why those sort of signs, it should be like support the good people. And you know
Yes,
who the good
the
people
good
are, support
CEOs,
those good people, and let that good person buy 10 holiday homes if he has, delivered
Yeah,
wealth
but
to all
with
those
too many
guys.
CEOs in this world are not driven by doing the good stuff, right? They are doing it for the money.
That's because the good guys stay small. You've got to get the good guys big. And that's difficult.
Yes,
because
and that's
the
difficult in the
trends is
current
difficult.
system.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah, can I
Oh,
just
sorry, yes.
add something about that? I was thinking about the company thing. You said that it is good to still support these big companies and let them grow because they're doing good things. But also, in the end, and you were also talking about the thing with Gojek and everything. And I think right now there's like a transformation time. So why not allow these companies that are sustainable and they have some awareness to grow, but in the end let it become more local. And so I think this is like a time where a lot of industries and companies, they are dying, and we're seeing it all over the world, and maybe they are chemical, maybe they have been misusing so much, like exploitation in nature and so many things. So I think that is a transformation time to let like people get rich and do aware things from with nature and so. But in the end, I think making it local would reduce all plastic and everything, and also actually not using so many things in the process. And so these big companies still need to use a lot of things in the transportation and so on. So I think this is a good process because so many people are getting conscious now when the vaccine situation happens and they start to think, oh, is this really what we want? And is this the way of living that we really want? And we've tried this thing and we believed in the politics for a long time, and it's not really what we expected it to be in the end. And then something new changes in the system and they wait for a change and the change doesn't happen. And so many people now are waking up, they're starting to get closer to nature. And sometimes I ask the Balinese people, so what do you think about what's happening now? And they say, yeah, we're losing money, and we need the bullays to give us the money, so it's good they can come in again. And then I ask them, but how do you get money now? And then they say, yeah, it's kind of like we lived before the bullays come. We sell to the local people. And I said, isn't that good? And you have more time, you have time with your family. And then some people still say that, yes, but I need money because this is the way to increase life, like life quality, right? So then I asked them, but you have now started to grow some more things. Some families have started to do that. And so somehow they are starting to become more local. So I think it's also driving the Westerners. For example, I come from Sweden, and many people have been very comfortable for a long time. So now they're starting to feel like there is something wrong with the system, like everything is chemical, and they don't really believe in this lifestyle anymore. And so I think that is like a kick in the butt to do something real and And a lot of people now is interested in food forest, and they're starting to realize like why Amazonas was cut down. Like the Amazonian people were the abundant people. They have everything.
Yeah.
Hawaiian people also. You can go to Hawaii and you have fruits, you have vegetables everywhere. You don't have to go to the shop. So I think what you said before, like let nature grow back, and without us manipulating it and so on, I think in the end, we can produce, we don't have to think about reusing stuff and so on because we become local. And I think we become healthy also when we eat stuff that is not processed too much.
Right, closer to nature.
Yeah. So I think this is a process now with these bigger companies that are aware, and we have to let them step forward. Maybe some people want to make money out of them, like, and so I guess this is a process, and then we'll realize more and more and learn from it, and maybe in the end we will have these abundant food forests. That's my wish.
Yeah, that's
in the end.
definitely food forests are popping up everywhere.
Yeah, rainforest with fruits and vegetables and everything.
Beautiful.
And medicines also.
Exactly.
Yeah, thanks.
So all-purpose cleaners can be made with you can use your waste. This is citrus waste. Fill a jar, fill it with vinegar, wait a few months, strain it, add some essential oils, and you've got a good all-purpose cleaner. If you want to upgrade that, you would make an enzyme cleaner. So you do the same thing. Fill the jar with citrus waste. Then make activate some yeast with some sugar and some water, and put that in the jar, fill it up, and then wait 3 weeks.
So again, this is actually an example of
a workshop.
Yeah, we can have. I mean, Pauline can have a workshop with it. But this is something that we use daily in our daily life. We clean our things, and we can use something that is not damaging for the earth. This is actually better for the earth than washing up liquid. Maybe you can quickly. We have only little time. How much time do we have?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention one more
it's
thing.
It's almost 3, so some people will need to have to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The enzyme cleaner is good for your septic system. It's good for your garden. You can clean your toilets with it full strength. You can cut it 50-50 for floors. So it just, is a great product, and you're not using chemicals.
Yeah, and we're gonna do a few of these workshops that Pauline is gonna show here. We're gonna do and organize with them in the near future. Pauline has been really busy. I was very, very happy that she, could come here together also with Sophie.
I will. I think there are only just a couple of slides. I will do it very fast. So apart from making the right choices in regards to buying stuff, also feed not only your body but feed your brain. There are so many learning opportunities here in Bali. I mean, since I've arrived 5 years ago, I've done a permaculture course. I've done a syntropic agroforestry course. Now I'm doing the rice cycle course. I've done natural. I have done so many things, and it has been really empowering and enriching. It's amazing. So I want to give a shout out to the rice cycle. People who want to buy rice, that is there. It's from the nearby Subak, farmed by farmers, supported by Astungara Way. It's 5 kilograms for 100,000 rupiah. You can choose to buy it for your own home. It's farmed without pesticides and with as many regenerative techniques as possible. Or you can choose to buy a bag of rice to donate it to a good cause. So next.
Let's just quickly do this slide. This is a movie. It's a video. Simon, I met the year I came. He's amazing. He has a food forest and a cooking school, and he has full of wisdom.
Everything I tend to do is because it makes me feel good. Not from a sort of egoic satisfaction, but it's like constantly giving birth to things. So what are the things that make you feel good is a really good question to ask. If you spend enough time in the forest, you stop seeing yourself as so separate. You actually kind of become one with the forest. If you remove people from that situation and we're using concrete blocks, spend enough time away from nature, then yeah, then nature becomes a force outside of us that needs to be controlled all the time. In terms of food, I think about the landscapes it creates. You drive around Holland, all you see is these paddocks with cows, pig farms, wheat fields, and you literally see on people's plate, you see ham, cheese, sandwiches. So that makes me realize that our diet creates our landscape, or did our economic needs and wants create our diet? For us to just stop listening to that and create our own diet based on how we want our landscape to look, based on how our planet wants us to eat, we might come up with whole new ways of eating that are really delicious. The core of New Earth cooking is to acknowledge that we are an evolving species and that evolution always must come from within. We're going to bridge the gap between these really unknown foods and what you're used to eating. So I create comfortable dishes with local ingredients. Human beings have always been disruptive on this planet. We've now come to a critical point in our evolution where we either survive by changing or we will go extinct. People can now use their intelligence and we can use technology in a way that aligns with nature, where there can be abundance for all. Because you cannot be rigid. And I feel this is the biggest challenge for vegans to not be rigid, for meat eaters to not be rigid, for humans to not be rigid. But working from a level of awareness and then seeing this is what we have. Let's make the best of it and let's make it better every day.
So all the beautiful decorations that you see now on the street, especially I think last month was an important month for ceremonies here in Bali. Years ago it was just styrofoam. And now you see actually most of the decorations are natural. And of course it's also the consciousness of the Balinese, but I actually also want to believe that it's partly caused by my friend who arrived here 5 years ago and who is really young and started the company Mika Scene and is making beautiful things. That could be the next slide. So before you saw all this, and now you really see beautiful, next slide, you see beautiful decorations made from banana leaf, palm leaf, etc. So that's Chloe Quinn from the company Mika Scene, and they're making beautiful ornaments now. And she used to live in England and was a primary school teacher, and she was actually before a theater decorator, but her parents said that she could not earn money, and that's why she became a teacher. And then actually she was only 20 and she decided, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to go to Bali. And she really super admired the artisans here, and she helped them from 5 years ago to now to help them develop the business. And now she's here. On 6th of October, that's next week, she has an exhibition in John Hardy's boutique slash cafe where she can display all her ornaments. So I would really invite everybody to go there. It's really beautiful what she and her artisans
and she has
making.
Inspired so many other local people to do the same. So now, you know, I was up at Batu Karu and went to a tiny little village. Beautiful stuff that they had created. So she's inspired all of these other local people to go back to the traditions. And that's where, lead by example, and others will follow.
So nor Chloe nor Simon are big CEOs, right? I mean, sorry, I'm just still pointing out this. I'm still pointing out, but they are really they are making so much impact here in Bali.
Also what happened was then the oga-ogas were made from styrofoam. Now it's law. You have to make them from natural material. So this, it starts a ripple effect. Next. So what you can do now. You can use Kambali. You can purchase a recyclable bag. You can support local organic growers. and local vegetable stands. You can take a cooking class and learn how to use local products. Get out into nature and connect and grow a plant or grow a plant.
Yeah.
And make your own medicine. Lots of medicinal plants here. And so, yeah, we are a part of nature. Take one step towards nature. Nature takes 100 steps towards you. Nature is regenerative. And, you know, if you look at nature, nature is a mirror image of our health. So the health of the planet affects the health of us humans, and we've got to do something. Big shout out to everyone who's trying.
Everyone is trying, yes. That's a big...
So we've got some, there's some crackers that I made. I made a dip of just what I had, which was edamame and some jackfruit seeds, and made a hummus out of that. And then we've got some nice 2 different types of crackers. We've got some kefir for you guys to try. And any questions, we can answer those quickly.
Oh my gosh, Pauline, thank you so much. And I'm sorry that it's 3 o'clock and we kind of have to rush to the end. But actually, Oriol just gave like this brilliant suggestion. And I think that that's the intention. He's like, it's such an important conversation that we should actually have more about that. So I think the idea is that we organize a few workshops where you guys can, with time, learn. So there is one that I'm doing, and I'm hoping that Pauline is going to be there to help me around creating your body care products, you know. We're going to be doing also around cleaning products and some other ones. We have done already herbal medicine, learning how to do your medicine, agroforest. So a lot of these workshops, distillation. So a lot of these workshops, they're not something that we can come here and talk in an hour. They're really experiences that you need 2, 3 days, 1 week, a path, a life to learn. I mean, a good way to do it is just to hang out with Pauline. That's I mean, if you hang out with her in her house, you're going to learn a lot and eat a lot of good things. And you guys are so lucky that she brought that. I've been trying to kind of take a piece of that before we start. But I really want to thank you girls, not only for coming here today, but also for all the beautiful work that you girls do and for, you know, inspiring us and for walking the talk and helping the whole community, as you always have, to create less impact and more than that, to become regenerative, yes? So I just want to thank...
Less impact on the earth, a bigger impact to the people.
To the people. So thank you, everybody.